Aloha everyone, this is Leimomi Keliikuli, Intuitive Soul Alignment Mindset Coach here, and I'm so excited to interview Marian here. And she is an author, speaker, healer, meditation teacher. And today we're going to kind of like share a little bit more about like overcoming the odds through, the healing transformation, spiritual journey that she has had to gone through. So why don't you first introduce yourself, Marian, and share with us what you do. How did you become a master genius at what you do today?
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me on your show. I'm really, really excited to connect with you and with your audience and really share my own journey and transformation as well. How this came about was this sort of unfolded the way it was. I was always in marketing, being a transformation coach, a speaker, an author, even being a certified meditation teacher was something that really unfolded for me based on my own personal transformation and my own healing work and all the things that I had to go through. And what I learned from that, what I started sharing, other people started resonating with it and started going to me for help. So most of my life, I've really lived that double life. On the outside, I checked off all the boxes, did really well in school. I went to college. You basically, the checklist for, being an Asian American daughter, female, as well as, a woman in our society. And the flip side was always very different from what people perceived. So even through high school and college and growing up, everyone thought everything was great. Around the time that I was 27, on the outside, everything looked great. I had a great career. I was a marketing director for a huge Asian American company. I was traveling a lot. My food blogging also was taking off. So I was doing a lot of TV work. I was involved with nonprofits. So everything looked great. But behind closed doors, I was actually severely depressed. I suffered from anxiety. I had PTSD from childhood trauma, from incest and childhood sexual abuse that I never addressed. I was always told to never talk about it, keep it under the rug. So I just learned how to blend in, to shut it down and to self-medicate with work, relationships, drugs, alcohol, to kind of numb everything. And that all basically blew up in my face. Over 4 years ago, I overdosed and I had a near-death out-of-body experience that completely changed my life around and woke me up. And right after that, I bought a one-way ticket. I followed my intuition. I just moved from LA to Miami. And really in Miami is where my transformation and my spiritual journey really started, because I had to start looking inward for all of basically my answers. My whole life I had been looking for outside sources to fill the void, to help me. And for the first time in my life, I was going inward. So I started really heavily meditating. I started just devouring books, going to retreats, working with shamans, energy healers, all sorts of this holistic spiritual path to really find the answers that I was looking for, as well as really face my shadows and my fears. And since then, it's just been a remarkable journey of healing, of self-love. I was able to come out publicly with my story. I confronted my abuser, who was my father. I came out publicly through my family. And some actually didn't take it well, but it was all part of that growth and that facing my fears transformation. And since then, I've been helping other people, especially women, really transform their trauma, deal with a lot of issues, changing their mindset, and really holistically heal from the inside out. So that's my work now, and it really just all became from my own work.
That's incredible, like how you turned something that was just so difficult that, you had to like work on it within, because as you know, whatever childhood trauma is there, it's going to carry on for generations, even after you, right? Because in your DNA, it's going to remind even the children that you pass on the same kind of story. So through that experience, like, when you were like growing up as a child, like what lit you up? Like what plays that role now into what you do today?
Well, I always loved singing, dancing, and really, I remember as a child always being the one who spoke out. I was very rambunctious. I was not shy. So it's actually no surprise to me that I love, I have a YouTube channel. I do a lot with social media. And I love speaking because I've always been the type to never be shy. You put me on a stage and I'm just like, yes, you know. And that's amazing how it's transferred now into this type of work. So what really lights me up is connectivity with people. I grew up, my first 5 years of my life was in the Philippines, on an island, and it was just pure magic. And I was surrounded by a lot of love and a lot of my grandmother, my aunt, and just that pure love. And I know for sure that that love that I experienced really carried me through to the dark times in my childhood. Because after that, I actually met my parents when I was 5. I didn't know who my parents were until I moved to the US. And from there, it was like a completely different experience. When I was with my grandmother and my aunts, it was full of love. And then when I got into, living with my mom and dad, my mom was always working, so I never saw her. She worked all the time. And she was a tiger mom. So, I learned a lot of discipline and learned a lot from her, but she was never nurturing and soft. And my dad, he ended up being my abuser. So I know that the love that I learned from, the time in the Philippines as a child really carried on, during the dark times of my life.
So what would, obviously you went through a very, very difficult time in your childhood, and I'm sure everybody listening in also had some sort of relation to what you're talking about. What are like the must-do, like 3 must-do steps to get back into alignment? Because obviously, this is what you help people with too, right? Like getting through the abuse or the deeper stuff that they need to get through. Like, what are like your like steps? Like, how do you help them move through that when they work with you?
So when I work with my clients, a lot of what we work through is mindset. And we do a lot of inner work. So we do a lot of inner child meditations, healing, past self healing. I do something called timeline therapy healing, where I help them really address even subconsciously, because a lot of times there's traumas that they're not even consciously aware of that we work through. A lot of those subconscious childhood traumas affect how people act and think and the decisions that they make way into adulthood, and they don't even know why. So we address a lot of the core root issues, as well as looking into healing ancestral wounds. You touched about generational trauma, and I completely believe that we are in such this amazing space and time now that we are here to change the paradigm and really help heal a lot of those old ancestral wounds. So it's a huge mindset shift. Another one that I really focus on is, for me, and this is through my own journey, is self-love is absolutely the best love. In order to get the relationships that you want, the friendships, the romantic relationships, the business that you want, it all starts with you, with how you take care of yourself, with how you nurture yourself, and with how you treat your body as sacred. And one of the things that stems from that is really going back into your body. A lot of survivors, victims and survivors, especially of physical abuse and sexual abuse, are so detached from their bodies that we work on getting them really into this body. And when you start really feeling your body and being more intuitively aware and conscious of what you do and what you eat, you start really being able to take control of your life and really realize and remember that you create your own life and your destiny and no one else. So those are some of the things that we work through when I work with my clients.
That is definitely very important, right? Like to go through that self-love process to actually see some of these core issues, not just in this lifetime, but past lives also, to like address them from a holistic perspective. And definitely like that's kind of what we work through also with my coaching in my academy, but teaching them the kind of multidimensional tools that they're needing in order to be better leaders, to step out in the world, right? It's not very easy to be in this online space, and there's just a lot of noise around us. So it's like coming back into ourselves and within to figure out, okay, what do I really want to do? Like, what is it that I need to change in my lifestyle? What is it that I need to do in order to have more self-love, to that the deeper connection to my soul? So these are like kind of like usual steps, but I think like over time, like you will learn this new skill, right? Because there's all that self-sabotage, drug abuse.
We are in this world, this planet.
Yes, so we definitely can get like misaligned in that process. So when you feel like, you know, like giving up, like what keeps you going? Like what are the things that really helped you to keep going when it was really, really hard?
Yeah, so for me, I call it Thriver Basics, and this is something that I practice, and this is something that I teach my clients. And it's really, I call it Thriver Basics because it's foundational. You know, now I hear the word basic, people are like, oh, basic is like, you know, that's so like base level, but it's foundational. It's things that anchor you back into your body, into alignment. And so for me, my Thriver Basics are meditation, for sure, meditation, going out into nature, journal writing. For me, writing has been so cathartic. There's just magic with taking all the thoughts, especially, and I recommend this to people who have a lot of anxiety, right? There's all these thoughts that just circle on in our heads, and the noises get loud. Just put that onto your paper, like literally dump it out. And then you start seeing like, oh my gosh, this is how I'm talking to myself. This is what I'm thinking. Like, this is crazy. You know, so journaling has just been so helpful and healing for me. And that takes me back into alignment. So meditation, nature, journaling, and moving my body, because we hold, especially trauma, we hold a lot of trauma for women, especially right in the solar plexus and in our hips and our lower body. So moving our bodies through dance, through yoga, through whatever that resonates with you is just so helpful to move that stagnant energy.
Yeah, definitely you can hold that in your body. So like how do you define success? I think everybody has a different way of explaining success. But since you've endured so much, like what has changed about, you know, your definition of success?
Yeah, I love that question because it definitely has changed for me. You know, in my 20s, the success was checking off all the boxes, making sure I had the title, the money, all that. And that's also great. I think we all need to have abundance and wealth in our lives. But I think for me, success all starts with me. Like, how do I tapping into how I feel? Do I feel abundant? Do I feel love? Do I feel peace? Am I really aligned with my purpose? Am I doing things that light me up and make me happy? Because we all know, you know, based on a lot of the unfortunate events that happened recently with the suicides from Anthony Bourdain to Robin Williams to Kate Spade, that money, stature, wealth, fame, all that is still not the complete answer, right, to fulfillment and to success. So one of my, actually something that has been in my mind over and over that I learned from my meditation teacher who taught me was that we are number one, us. And we need to work on ourselves, our inner work, our healing, our self-love. Like, we are the pillar. And everything else could be success, it could be your career, it could be all the material things, money, all that, relationships, all those are zeros. But when we put ourselves last, when we put all those things first, our value diminishes to 0.00001. But if we put ourselves first and in the beginning, and then everything else back, you know, then the success, the wealth, the material, whatever it is, the abundance, our value just exponentially increases. So it all just starts and ends with ourselves.
I so love that analogy. It's so true. Like, you're the pillar, and then if you want more in your life, you would add to it. Like, we always do the opposite, right? We think, oh, just add one here. But actually, in reality, there would be an emptiness within, and then you feel devalued, or you don't feel of any value. And as children, like, we never really have probably been shown that ability to be like of value, right?
Mhm.
So what advice would you give someone who's, wanting to get in their genius as you have? Like, what helped you decide to really step into your, leadership in your life and your business to really be an expert in your industry?
I know that stepping into my unique story, my voice, and knowing that I have value in helping others. Um, One of the things I love, for me, quotes and things that help me remember just stick with me. And I went to the Tony Robbins Date with Destiny seminar a few years ago. And one of the things that he said really, really resonated with me. And he said, you can't take someone to a place you've never been. And this was before I was still kind of shy about talking about my story and really owning it, thinking, wow, people are going to judge me, all these things. And I realized that this pain that I went through, all the things that I've gone through is actually my gift. And because I was able to go and really be on one side, the depths and the darkness, from suicide to drug abuse to, the addictions, and find a way out and heal myself, I'm able to hold that deep of a space for other people. And I found that people just naturally tell me things that they've never told before. My clients are like, I've never opened up like this. And it's because I think they feel the empathy and the compassion and the fact that I know what they're feeling and what they're going through because I've been there. So I think for me, realizing and stepping into my power and my gift and knowing that what I'm doing is truly, helping the world and helping elevate collective consciousness, that really that energizes me, and that gives me purpose.
That's beautifully said. I think it's so true. Our obstacles, our experiences are actually a gift, and when we see it as that, then this is when we really thrive, right? Because we can actually share a different message, a different perspective that most people, who are going through the same thing would never have somebody on the other side to help them with that.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. Amazing, amazing nuggets of what you shared. So how can anyone reach out to you to work with you or to, start their journey to do this?
Yeah, so you can find everything on my website. It's www.marianbacol-uba.com. And I'm really active on Instagram. So it's at mbacol-uba. And there you'll find links to my podcast, my YouTube channel. I put tons of conscious content out there, do lots of IG stories, so you can communicate with me there. I'm the most active on Instagram. And you can connect with me there or go onto my website.
Thank you so much for your time. I think I want to end kind of soon because of the fact that my internet's not that great here in Thailand. But thank you for taking the time with us. So everyone else who's listening in, I'll be continuing again this Leimomi interview series, interviewing amazing 6-7 figure, multiple 6-7 figure earners who are really doing amazing things. And I want to share with everybody their amazing knowledge, their amazing stories, and the impact that they're making in the world. So until next time, you guys all have a beautiful day. Aloha.
Bye. Thank you.